closer here today. All right. So we were talking about acronyms a few minutes ago. You know, the UTI thing. Well, I suffered from a chronic acronym myself called UDI, unidentified drinking injuries. So, anyways, I'm honored and privileged to be here in front of all of you as fellow colleagues in the same business and industry, and essentially, you know, we're here to help those individuals that are suffering, and it doesn't come easy. You know, I know that all of you are compassionate and very passionate about your work and what you do. I feel very much the same way, and it wasn't until I got into recovery and into treatment myself that having encountered what I had to go through to get sober has allowed me to kind of get an idea of what it takes. And absolutely, you know, I know a lot of the treatment facilities are 30 or 90-day programs, but I'm so incredibly taken by the approach that I've heard here as far as the message, and that it is long-term extended care. John's mentioning, you know, the 5-year plan. Absolutely, all of that goes hand in hand. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my own personal experience. I actually did 1 year of treatment, 6 months primary care, and then another 6 months of structured transitional living. And shortly after that, I went to go work at a detox facility. And what I found was that we were getting a lot of people that were chronic relapsers. And that's really what Step House Recovery's role and how the company was founded. When I founded the company a little over 4 years ago, and I established this pattern that kept happening, it essentially happened because people were doing 30 or 90-day programs, and then they were going to either independent living or very low supervised sober living environments. And so my vision was basically to connect that gap or bridge that gap that exists. And that's what Step House Recovery does. We essentially take individuals that have gone through or have been through programs and gradually integrate them into our structured program. We have certain rules that have to be followed. One of them is a 7-day blackout when they come in. We provide a lot of services that are essential for these individuals that don't have the ability to have things like driver's licenses. You know, how are they going to get to AA meetings? How are they going to get to the grocery store? So we have company vans at each of our 3 facilities. We have 2 of them in Costa Mesa and 1 in Huntington Beach. And they're all within about a 5-minute drive to the beach. Very nice suburban homes, so they have all of the normal amenities that they're used to, you know, probably where they came from. Now, our population is probably the most difficult or challenging that I've ever seen, because it's mid-groupers, typically 18 to 30, and most of them are very entitled. Somebody mentioned TFK, Trust Fund Kids. That's what we deal with, a lot of those. So they're coming in, about 90% of them are coming in kicking and screaming against their will. They're either doing it for their families because they're going to be cut off, or maybe they've been court ordered. We are sheriff approved and probation approved for those kind of scenarios. But essentially the biggest thing that we have to offer them are services, because a lot of them still need clinical services like a psychotherapist or addiction counseling, or they need to be in groups. And we do have a licensed outpatient medical office. It's about 3 miles equidistant for all the facilities. And so we do transport them over there. What that means to all of you is we get a lot of individuals that call our 800, usually it's family members calling our 800 numbers, and we cannot handle their residential needs. And I'm so glad to be here so I can be connected with you guys, because they come, over 50% of our population is from out of state, so they come from everywhere, even internationally sometimes. So I now have a wealth of knowledge and resources, having met all of you, that I can refer them where they need to go. And for those of you that are discharging people that want to be probably, you know, at the equivalent level of a mecca of recovery, which is Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, Costa Mesa, and they want to be near the beach, you can send them over our way. And we do take most insurances. We're in network with a lot of the big companies, and definitely you know, take the PPO out of networks. We're very diligent about making sure that as they go through each one of their 3 phases with us, the 30, 60, 90 days of integration with us, that they're progressing properly. And if they're not, let's say they get to the second phase where they have a little more independence and freedom, we will either send them to a behavioral detox if we have to, or send them back to our first track where they have less privileges and less independence. But we're all about moving them forward, getting them to essentially reintegrate back into the community. And we have a family day on Saturdays that families are requested to come in, and we have a pretty good turnout of family members. As everybody's stated here earlier, it is a huge component. Families, what I refer to as the dirty fishbowl, needs to be cleaned up, because if we do the hard work on the inside job of getting somebody to recover, and then suddenly we go ahead and send them back to their old environment and nothing's changed, the relapse is just waiting to happen. It's inevitable. We do have 20 beds altogether, and our census typically runs around 15. So what that allows us to do is truly give a lot of personal attention to each one of our residents. We have on-site live-in manager that's there to make sure everything's being supervised properly. We request and require a sponsor within 7 days of being with us, and we are 12-step based. We have a lot of individuals that don't want the 12 steps initially, and what we do is we'll work with a different modality with them at that point, but at a certain level we want the individual to integrate into that 12-step approach, which is what we know works. We do ask our individuals to our residents to get into action. One of the things that they do is they either volunteer, they're working a 20-hour get well job that we will allocate for them through a place called One Stop Employment. And probably the most critical thing is also their vocational support toward, you know, higher education. Like if they want to go to junior college, we'll build the application for them. If they want to, you know, go back into a career path, we'll do help with their resume work. And let's see, those are pretty much the majority of the high points of what we do. I basically mentioned that one of the things I didn't mention, I should say, is our eating disorder program that we have for aftercare is a really, really strong one. We have a licensed nutrition dietitian that works with anybody that, let's say we get somebody from the Victorian or the Roses are the people that we work with typically. I know Castlewood, you may have people that want to go out to the West Coast, and that is supervised with monitored meals. We take them to the grocery store, we do calorie counts, all the essential things to make sure that they're transitioning properly. I'd also like to just mention Kyle Garrity, who's our client advocate, and Kyle came on as a unique position to the company because I was finding there was a big gap between the communication between the family, the residents, and our staff. So I'm going to have him just say a couple of things about what he does.
Yeah, so I came into Step House June 1st, and I was kind of having trouble finding what I should be doing there. And you know, what I found that needed to be done was, first of all, clients. You know, I found if clients don't talk to family and parents, and you know, on a daily basis, they can get better much quicker. So I've had to try to find a balance to make parents happy knowing their kids' progress at our place, and also keeping them away from their child enough so they don't make them, you know, have any excuse to go out and relapse. So I keep progress notes on every client and send them to their parents on a weekly basis to let them know how they're doing. And you know, then now we start integrating this family meeting every Saturday to bring them together, and I'll sit down, and I've kind of found the role of being the enforcer of getting stuff done for these clients instead of sitting around. So I made sure they're doing school, they're doing work, and especially doing a 12-step program. You know, Orange County, there's 100+ people almost at every other meeting there. So I know there's no excuse for anyone not to have a sponsor. You know, I just help them plan out their weeks with going to meetings, their school schedule, their work schedule, everything about that. You guys have any questions?
Any questions?
Where
Yes.
is Fountain Valley?
It's right over the, I mean, it's right behind, it's right east of Huntington Beach and Costa Mesa.
Oh,
Yes.
Here, the sober living includes eating disorder, and that's rare out there, so that's great. Does your IOP also have a therapist that's
Yes, licensed therapist and
you've got
addiction.
dietitian, you've got
Right.
therapists that know eating disorder?
Absolutely.
That's great.
And thank you, Tim. Yes.
When you go to your IOP, if you live in the area, and can you live in your sober living if you don't go to the IOP?
Yes, we have rare exceptions where people aren't in the IOP, but yeah, it does happen. We're open to that.
Okay, and if they live in your area, can they go to your IOP?
Yes, correct. We have about maybe 10 patients that come in independently that either have gone through our program or are completely new to the IOP.
Any other questions? Very good.